What's up, nation? Really appreciate you all. Thank you all for tuning in. Want to be able to say this. I think I never went more than 2 days without talking to you all. So I've been flat out so busy this week. And although it's the off season, I know that a lot of people think that football is cease and desist, but knowing up now that we'll be out, I might as well post it late. And it's all of Dak Prescott's touchdowns, believe it or not, from 2019 until now, what have you. So it's going to be like all of last season touchdowns. And what I want to do is put that video out first, and then on the back end do a quote unquote, the negative video with all of the interceptions. Let me know if you guys want to see something like that. But shout out to you to post something to the nation at least once a day. And yesterday was a long time that I went without posting anything. But I really appreciate you all for growing a channel and continue to supporting this thing even in the off season. And what I'm trying to do is the life of the Dallas Cowboys football. Being the Dallas Cowboys fan, there's a lot of ups and downs. And when we look at the down aspect of it, it's been like that for what, 25 years? Out of the 25 years, you can say maybe 5 of those years been very hopeful, very promising, very something that we can look up to and say, well, if this happened, if that happened, then this would happen, you say. But I'm with the mindset of perseverance, hard work, continue to stride forward, and everything else will work its way out. Shout out to you, Eastside Harold. Shout out to you, man. Oh my goodness. Well, the interception video is something that I started back when we had Tony Romo as the quarterback. You guys remember that video? Had all of the interceptions of Tony Romo, and my thing is, with that being said, the that video is no longer on YouTube. You probably can type it in. Somebody else uploaded it, but I was forced to take that video down. But I will say this: the all touchdown videos is no commentary. So shout out to my Cowboys family. There's no commentary on the video. It should be like 20 minutes long, and it's just Dak Prescott throwing the touchdowns. And it's an all 22 clip, already chopped up. And what took me forever in the day to do that particular video was the typing, actually typing what happened or what transpired through the video. So it's going to be okay video. Just let me know if you guys would like that flow or that process after the video is uploaded, and we can get things going in the right direction, you see. It's going to take a minute for this upload because it's like 18, 20 minutes long. And I want to be able to reach out to you all. But the life of a Dallas Cowboys fan, Devon, it never ends. I don't know if you guys are like me, but the first thing I do when I wake up, of course, I thank the Lord that I have, I'm able to see another day. But the process of it is that, man, I check the Cowboys news, man. We check the news. We see what's going on, whether it's good, bad, or happy or sad. And they also put out this, I think some articles out there saying that the Cowboys can get lucky if Randy Gregory resign. You see, if they figure out a way to get trade capital for Byron Jones and they sign Dak Prescott to a long-term extension and things like that, Cowboys can get lucky. It was a report out there. My thing is with Randy Gregory, we love him. We love what Randy Gregory can do. We love his skill set. But I think that the Cowboys, with this new coaching staff, they should just move on. I think that they really should. Although, if we can't come up with some type of an agreement with Robert Quinn, the Cobra man, then if Randy Gregory, with the new collective bargain agreement, can come into the folds and play, then I'm all down for Randy Gregory. I look at Randy Gregory from the aspect of looking at it like, yeah, he didn't have 11.5 sacks, but The boy was bending. The boy got that bend. I'm talking about his shoulder blade can cut grass almost. That's how low his shoulder blade can go. So the up and downs of the Cowboys fan base or the Cowboys fandom is always like that. We have high hopes, high expectations, high promises and love and adulations and all of those things to say to ourselves, we just want to win, right? Yes, indeed. But this will be another good groove for us. Shout out to you, Scott Cook, man. Thank you for tuning in to the nation. But this will be another good groove for us if we can figure out a way. If the Cowboys organization is not sold on Byron Get Down Jones, yeah, notice I give everybody a nickname. But if we're not sold on Byron Get Down Jones, then if they can get something trade value, man, that would be crazy. That would be flat out crazy, man. I like Byron, but if he want 15 mil and they not liking what he can render out there for his collective body of services, then baby, I tell you, the life up and downs of the Cowboys fans, if we can just get something in return. We have yet to get things in return, Cowboy Nation. I'm going to repeat. We don't get things in return. I'm going to repeat. We don't get things in return as it relates to our star players. We don't. We don't. It's very strange if we do. And I think that a lot of people scared to will and deal with Jerry, Wayne, Jones, but it is what it is. Life of being a Cowboy fan is messed up. This is from Chris Blunt. Yeah, it's messed up, man. Can we get a second round for Byron Jones? This is from Martin. That would be nice, right? Hey, Eastside, y'all want Byron Jones, man? Do y'all want Byron Jones, Eastside? Feel bad for the man. This is from Tatarelli. What's up, Akeem? Man, my day, like I said, I wake up, thank the Lord for another day. I turn on the TV. You know, of course, you need to wash your face, brush your teeth, and all that good stuff, and make sure the beard is all okay. And we started to peel back through all of the articles. Cowboy fans, we started doing all of those things. And then we try to figure out how can we make this team better just from our mental thoughts, right? Because we don't make the team better at all as fans. That's the whole point of being a fan, is a fanatic, right? So we're a fanatic, we're crazy about this thing. We start looking up, we start researching, we start imagining, if we can get this trade. We start looking at Grant Delpit film all over again. We start looking at Ken Law film all over again. We start looking at the McKinney film. Then we start listening in to the draft talk shows. We probably tune into my guy, my brother from another mother, Vach Lombardi. We listen to what he had to say. Then we pull around and listen to Big Game James. Everything else remained the same. We listen to his film, or we listen to what he talking about. And then we turn to 105.3 The Fan. You probably have that playing in the background the whole entire day, waiting for some type of news to break, waiting to see whether or not they're going to sign Dak Prescott, waiting to hear whether or not they're going to get rid of Dak Prescott, waiting to hear what they're going to do next. You see, it's always a story you see with the Jones, and then you turn on 1310 the ticket, you see. And then you get to go through that whole process. Some of you guys tune into Law Nation, you see, and then you sit back and say, man, what Law talking about? He ain't talking about that. Let me tune over here to Foots, you see. Let me see what my guy Collier is talking about and West Coast Cowboys. So this cycle of going through a Cowboys fan is continuing to happen. And all we want is wins, of course. And a lot of people sit back and they say to themselves, man, oh man, we ain't going nowhere. It's still, we're going to hang our head low. We're not going to look up. And these are the things that we go through because of the 10 years with Jason Garrett, 3 before that as him being the offensive coordinator with Wade Phillips. And then on top of that, yes, we had some high hopes and love for my guy Bill Parcells, but he just didn't stay long enough. Think about this. He's only been on his team for 3 years. Yes, I like the subscribe button, Gray. And it's read more. Yes. Shout out to you, man. Who is it? Byram ain't no safety. Yeah. Go watch the Broncos game in 2017. I will, Nolan. I'll check it out. Sean Lee, I don't think that he's going anywhere. This is from a king. No, I don't think so. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere, Cowboy Nation. I don't. Let me get some water right quick. I don't think he's going anywhere. But I will say this with I will say this with all of the people we got. You guys didn't go nowhere and I left. That's what I'm talking about. But I will say this, nation. If we can figure out ways to make this thing happen, because we got a new coaching staff, we got a new philosophy now, this will be a situation where we can look at ourselves and say, man, Cowboy Nation, if you think about the total picture, there's no more clapping. There's no more Wade Phillips just holding the clipboard, looking like he, you know what I mean? It looked like he just didn't really, he was aloof at times. And then when we had the Bill Parcells of the world, we was sitting there saying yes, but we was fighting through so much trash. And we had no quarterbacks, zero. And then we was glad and happy. We were happy by Tony Romo. For those who saw Tony Romo in training camp and in preseason, we was like, who's the number 9 kid? Put him out there. Drew Bledsoe, boy, he looked like Father Time. Going through his progression slow, and we thought that we had something out of him, but it was just the end of the road, you see. And we saw something in Tony Romo. We saw something. And I probably would go to my grave saying this, though, Cowboy Nation. I'm just speaking real with you all. That we fought for the brother. When he fumbled the ball, playing basketball with the football in 2006, and we hear all of the people, they knew our number then, calling us saying, oh, this guy's a choke artist. And I felt bad for the brother. But in 2007, it felt like we were all in his corner because he stepped it up. And that 2007 season, we were sitting there like, yes. But somewhere in the back of our mind, we were sitting there like, man, this ain't right. Man, we need Big Tuna back, man. We need Bill Parcells back into this thing, man. It just seems like too much things going right, man. And I kid you not, the moment they said that Cowboys players are going to Cabo, I was like, dang. And that Eli, that brother would know, that brother know he was lucky, boy, with that defense. And they showed up and they had the seasonal coach. They had that coach that if you on time, you late type of stuff. You remember that? I'm just taking you guys back through history so we can let you know how inept the coaching staff was or what have you. And remember they was calling it Camp Cupcake. And that game, the Dallas Cowboys versus the New York Giants, that same year, the Patriots was doing their thing too. We was like, man, but we are the real America's team. And remember, I think in 2007, help me out if I'm wrong, we played them and we was like, we lost, but we was like, we'll see you guys in the Super Bowl. Remember that? And we just never was able to get over that hump. We were never able. And that label for Tony Romo stuck on him that he couldn't win the big games or he couldn't win these close games and these sort of things. And we as Cowboy Nation, we fought for Tony Romo. We fought. We fought tooth and nails. We were sitting there saying that, hey, this kid just needs this, he just needs that. And the whole time, the whole problem was none of the star athletes that was around Tony Romo. It had nothing to do with the offensive line. Nothing to do. But Jerry Wayne Jones always implemented that it's the players, basically. Always. Not some ways, always. And if you go back and you listen, coaching staff, Wade Phillips got the boot, and his son, Jason Garrett, came into this mix. And we've been mediocre ever since then. The roster was always loaded, mediocre. And the reason why I'm saying this long story is because when I went back, and you guys are going to see the clip when I post it, when I went back and I started to just go over some of the touchdowns that Dak Prescott threw, did you guys know that he threw over three touchdowns in the Minnesota Vikings game? The guy was just all over the field, just launching that mug. And when I went back and I started watching the game, cutting up the tape, cutting up the film, I sit there and said to myself, coaching, man, coaching. You got a guy just carving up the Minnesota Vikings defense as relates to throwing a rock. And you trying to run it into the teeth of the lion. You see what I'm saying? Trying to run it into the teeth of that team. And they said by hook or by crook, you're not going to run the rock on us. And we just kept on trying to run. And the middle of the field was wide open, man. Jackson says, Aikman of 2006, yeah, some calling his team talented. Stop calling his team talented. No, well, see, every team is talented, Ortiz, yes, but when the greats, I'm gonna say this, when the greats say that this team is talent, I can't argue against Jimmy Johnson. You see, I can't fix my mouth to say that, hey, Jimmy Johnson is lying. You see, it would have no weight if Jimmy Johnson looked at this team and say, hey, this team is a bunch of no talented players. But Ortiz, when Jimmy Johnson, I wish I can just and pull that clip up. When he says that this team is talented, I remove what everybody say, well, it's the players' fault that we lose in these games. No. It got to be with coaching. And that's the reason why Coach is gone. Coach Red is gone. He may be a good offensive coordinator, believe it or not. But as that head coach, he just couldn't elevate them to that next level. In life of a Dallas Cowboys fan, since 2006, dare I say, maybe 2000, I'm gonna go all the way back. Since 1996, we only had one proven coach, and that's Bill Parcells. And Bill Parcells been here for only 3 years. 3 years. And shout out to the 49ers. I got to say this with the 49ers, although they didn't win the Super Bowl or what have you. I have to say this. The San Francisco 49ers, they took those running backs and they was able to elevate. You see, there's been games where I was sitting there watching and I see a Tony Pollard hitting the hole, squeeze and getting out to the edge there. And I'm saying, okay, we're going to keep that momentum going. Now he's on the bench warming up the thing. I'm like, whoa, give it to the hot hand. There's been games, like dare I say the Patriots game. It's a monsoon, it's raining. Ezekiel was averaging 5.7 or close to 5.9 yards a carry. And here they go, they trying to throw the ball in the rain. I'm sitting there saying, like, hey, feed the baby. Feed the baby. Simple, but yet complex. Those are the things that we mess up on. On top of that, you knowing that we had the bottom ranked or the bottom half of the special teams ranked 31st and 32. Man, if I'm the head coach and I know that my job is on the line, shoot. I'd be like, give me that clipboard. I will be calling the plays as it relates to special teams. There's no way. There's no way that we'll be ranked bottom half or bottom in any category. Especially me, if it's on my watch, it's a direct reflection of me. That if I can't elevate, if I can't take something and elevate something or make it better, that's what coaching's supposed to do. That's what they supposed to be able to do, exhibit and exude. Let me tell you a quick story about a cultivator. You see, a cultivator is somebody that can take land that's desolate, nothing can grow. He's able to have the vision and the fortitude and the will of his mind to say, I'm going to be able to make something grow here. I just need to have the tools, of course. But if this land is desolate and voided to grow of anything, what's the first thing that I need to do as a cultivator? Is figure out the reason why. Okay, I do have my supply of water now, and what I need to do in order for that hard soil to grow, items that I put in there, or seed, dare I say, to put in there, I must start to take a pickaxe and start breaking up the soil, that hard soil, so that oxygen can get into that soil. So they can call it oxidation, I meant to say. Then I began to pour my water there. Why? Because that makes the ground soften. You see, I take my seed, and this is the craziest thing, Cowboy Nation. This is the craziest thing of it all. In order for a seed to grow, it must die first. And on top of that, in order for that seed to take root, it have to grow downward before it start growing upward, you see. And I believe for 25 years, we've been stuck in this desolate desert type of era, especially with Jerry Wayne Jones and with his hands into the mix. But he have yet to look at this total picture, and he been going out there grabbing all of the seeds and throwing it out there, throwing the seeds out there, hoping and wishing that they can grow. But guess what? The reason why they never grow, because they never had a cultivator, you see. The one time that they did have a cultivator, he was only here for 3 years. And he spent the first year and a half picking up and knocking down that hard soil. I'm trying to tie all of this stuff in together. If you're following me, let me know with a thumbs up or something. And if you're following me, see, he broke down that hard soil. He went and begged Jerry, let me pick out my own seeds at least. And Jerry was like, nah, but here's the seeds right here. And he said, okay, let me start throwing this thing. I need some fertilizer, Jerry. Can you give me some least fertilizer? Yeah, here goes some fertilizer. They ain't the right kind I need, Jerry. You gonna let me pick out my own? No, I gave you the seed. I gave you the soil. I gave you this mess that you must complete. And this was Bill Parcells. He finally got that soil loosened. We finally started playing football the right way. Hell, he won 10 games with Quincy Carter. You see what I'm saying? Made it to the playoff with Quincy Carter. In his 3 years, he made it to the playoff twice. You see, with Quincy Carter and also with Tony Romo, an undrafted rookie. Well, I guess he wasn't a rookie at that time, but you guys know what I'm saying if you're following me. And right before that seed, that Tony Romo seed, he died, you see. The seed must die in order for it to grow. But also the seed, when it dies, that root, I'm talking like my grandfather, that root must grab hold to that soil and then begin to elevate. And that's when they got rid of Bill Parcells. Right when Tony Romo fumbled that ball. You see, people are born in the triple trials or tribulations when they are born with the triple heats. When you go through something, you just don't get stomach muscles by laying on the couch, dare I say. It's all about dieting. It's all about eating the right food. It's all about preparation. You don't get biceps just by sitting on the couch. It's all about breaking down that muscles and rebuilding that muscle, right? So what happened with Tony Romo is that I'm talking about the ups and downs of the Cowboy Nation, right? The Cowboy fandom, is that we saw that blossoming. We saw that he started to grab hold to this system. And Bill Parcells left the 10 commandments down. And I don't have it by memory, but you guys can probably Google it, you see. And you can see those 10 commandments, but one of them he said, hey, do not become a celebrity quarterback, right? Do not become this, do not become that, right? But what happened is that he made that transition to Wade Phillips. But in the same breath, Wade Phillips got none of the credit because the offense is what all gets to shine. And what happened was Jerry, Wayne, Jones said, you know what, that team in 2007 was doing that because of my son, Jason Garrett. And they began to not take care of their soil, and things began to grow wildly. But they were still taking credit for everything. Well, Bill Parcells built upon that foundation. And that's what happened. Growth without guidance. And I'm saying this long story now is because now finally the Cowboys have realized and understood that we got a coach now that's a football's guy. He knows how to cultivate. He knows how to develop. He knows how to not feel too high of himself. He been with pedigrees of the Joe Montanas of the world, you see, the Brett Favres, the Aaron Rodgers, you see. He's a guy that everybody can identify with and say, well, with his particular system, I'm going to say this again, with his system, I'm going to say this again, with his system, we are able to elevate the Rich Gannons of the world, the Elvis Gorbach, the Aaron Brooks, whatever where this man been, he was able to cultivate. Not saying that he gets all of the credit, but dog it, at least he's able to cultivate. And wherever Jason Garrett been, it's been handed to him. Like, hey, this is perfect plot of land. It's easy for me to say, hey, with that good soil and that good land, I can grow some things, you see. I can grow some things. All I need is just a little water, you see. But when you throw that person out there in the desert and they say, hey, we want you to cultivate by yourself, boy, oh boy, it's a different world. It's a different world. Let me know if I'm wrong, Cowboy Nation. Post me your thoughts down below. I need to probably change my thumbnail to the cultivations of growth factors. If McCarthy, this is from Chris, is the man that everybody says he is, then I should be planning to looking into buying a Super Bowl ticket for next year. But can I trust them to make it there? Here's the thing. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Chris. That's a cool name. That's my middle name, man. Chris is a cool name. You know, my middle name is Christopher, actually. My thing is with this, Chris, is that expectations meet reality. When Parcells came onto this team, people were saying, like, finally we got a real coach. People were thinking that, okay, Parcells is going to take this team and go to the Super Bowl. What the problem was is, yes, I believe deep down in my hearts of hearts, I'm going to go to my grave saying that if Bill Parcells were to coach the 2017, the 2017, we're going to the Super Bowl. But the problem is that sometimes people don't wait for that to happen. Sometimes people will get too antsy and they get too impatient and they say, well, it's been since, I remember people been saying, it's been since 1995 since we won anything. And that's when Bill Parcells was coaching, you see. So people were getting impatient. Now, what I'm trying to say, objectively speaking, is that I don't want Cowboy fans to sit there and say, well, 2020 is Super Bowl or bust, you see. I don't want that. I want them to look at this 5 years contract with Mike McCarthy and look at it and say, okay, what are some areas where we can come in and be better at? What are some areas where we can come in and start winning playoff games and being competitive and also not just win by chance, but dominate? And that's been our issue. We've been winning by chance. There's no game that you can really count on your hands in 5 years or 10 years of the Garrett administration where you can sit back and say, you know what, man, we really outcoached the opposition. And I don't want to hear, the 2014 when we played against the Seattle Seahawks or what have you. Or I don't want to hear like a game that people was talking about in 2014. I believe we played against the Colts, or 2016 maybe. I think it was the Jaguars or something like that. Or it could have been the 17 or 18 year that we played against the Jaguars and we dominated in those factors. But I'm talking about not just doing that in one or two games, but I'm talking about a string of games. I'm talking about being able to elevate a team, whereas for sure man, we're gonna put this W on this Sunday, you say. And I know that we don't supposed to say, hey, I know football is supposed to be parody and these sort of things, but I'm talking about real deal, talking about coaching them up by talent and also by the level of coaching that for sure that this is a W going into that Sunday. And I know people gonna say, well, no, football is parity law, no games are guaranteed. But I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. A 5A school versus a 3A school. For those who in high school, you see what I'm saying. All right, I'll talk to you guys long enough. The video is finishing rendering, so I'm gonna upload the Dak Prescott video. Just stay tuned to that. There's no commentary. It's just all of his touchdowns. Let me know how you guys feel about that. I really appreciate you all. Thank you all for tuning in to the nation. Don't forget to hit that like button, share this content. If you like my story time with law, let me know. And just don't lower your expectations of saying that we're not making it to the playoff, but just have the expectations that this team is a playoff caliber team. We're going to finally play like a playoff caliber team. And when we get to the playoff, let's see if we can make something spark from there. And then once we get a few playoff wins under our belt, then we can start mentioning that Super Bowl. You guys get what I'm saying? We're going to win the Super Bowl, right? But that's the life up and downs of the Dallas Cowboys. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. Shout out to all the mods for helping me out as well. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's go. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. We're out. Peace. Can't hit that off button. There we go.